In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Coalesce function in SQL to take a null value and interpret it as something else. This is another form of conditional logic, same as the case statements that we just went over. In this particular example, we're looking at our rental table, where you can see that we have a bunch of rentals that don't have any return date. The return date value is null, in fact, and we can use Coalesce to take those null values and present them as something else. To demonstrate, we'll go to our select clause and then go one line down and start a Coalesce function. Now, the way Coalesce works is that it actually takes an infinite number of arguments. You can specify as many columns or values in here as you want. What Coalesce is going to do is it's going to search those values and it's going to return the first one that is not null. If we put return date in here and then run it, we're just going to get what we already have. It's going to return that first non-null value, and since we haven't specified anything other than a return date, well, there's nothing else for it to return. But now let's go in here and let's add a comma after return date, and let's put in something like current timestamp, which you remember from earlier in this week's videos. Now, if I run this function, my nulls are being replaced by today's date and time. But now suppose that instead of replacing it with today's date and time, we want to replace it with a label that just says missing or not returned. We can try to do that. We can say not returned inside of here. However, this is going to cause an error for one very simple reason. The return date column is a date time column, but not returned is text. These two data types do not match. So if I run the query, I get an error saying invalid input syntax for type timestamp. Just doesn't work. So what can we do here? We can actually use the cast function that you just read about in the last module, and we can use that to convert the return date into a text value. Specifically, we'll go to the start of return date and we'll start our cast function, open parenthesis. Then after return date, we're going to write as varchar and then close the parenthesis. Then at the end of our Coalesce function, we will say as return date 2. Then run the query again, and if we look at the results, we see that our null return dates are now displaying not returned, while the non-null return dates are displaying the return dates.